The real Dracula, the prince who became a monster. He impaled tens of thousands of people on wooden stakes, arranged them in patterns visible for miles, not in battle. After the battle was over, he ate his meals surrounded by the dying. He was a real person, a prince, a Christian ruler, a man his own people called a hero. Tonight we go inside the life of Vlad III of Wallachia, the man history knows as Vlad the Impaler, the real person behind the most famous fictional monster ever created. And at the end, the document found in a Turkish imperial archive in 2017 that contains a first-hand Ottoman account of Vlad that historians have never seen before. An account that changes something fundamental about how we understand why he did what he did. To understand Vlad III, you have to start not with his cruelty, but with his childhood. He was born around 1428 in Transylvania, now part of Romania. His father was Vlad II, Prince of Wallachia, a small Christian principality squeezed between the Ottoman Empire to the south and Hungary to the north. His father's nickname was Dracul, Dragon, from his membership in the Order of the Dragon, a Christian military order. Vlad III became Dracula, son of the dragon. In 1442, his father made a political calculation that would shape his son's entire psychology. He surrendered Vlad and his younger brother Radu as hostages to the Ottoman Sultan Murad II. Guarantee of loyalty, standard diplomatic practice of the era. Vlad was between 11 and 13 years old. He spent the next 4 to 6 years in Ottoman captivity. He was not mistreated physically. He received an education, military training, but he watched his captors closely. He learned their methods, their psychology, their tactics of intimidation, and he experienced firsthand what it meant to have your freedom determined entirely by another man's political calculations. He also learned something else. His father had been assassinated while he was in captivity, killed by Wallachian boyars, the local nobility. His older brother Mircea had been blinded with hot iron stakes and buried alive. By the time Vlad returned to Wallachia, he was a young man who had lost his father and brother to betrayal and political violence, who had spent his formative years as a political prisoner, and who had learned everything there was to know about how power actually worked. Vlad first ruled Wallachia briefly in 1448, quickly ousted by political rivals. He reclaimed the throne in 1456 and immediately began a campaign that would make his name infamous for 6 centuries. His primary target was the boyar class, the same nobility that had killed his father and brother. He invited them to a feast. Easter Sunday, 1459. When they arrived, he arrested them all. The older ones he impaled on the spot. The younger ones and their families he marched to the ruins of a castle on the Argus River and forced them to build it back up with their own labor. Those who survived the construction became his slaves. He was sending a message to every noble, every merchant, every foreign power watching. I know what betrayal looks like. I know where it comes from, and I will not tolerate it. His use of impalement was not random sadism. It was theater. Bodies arranged at different heights according to the rank of the victim. Ambassadors who displeased him impaled on higher stakes than common criminals. A visual hierarchy of punishment. When Ottoman envoys visited and refused to remove their turbans in his presence, citing religious custom, he had the turbans nailed to their heads, so they would never have to remove them again. The message reached Constantinople. In 1461, the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II had had enough. He sent an army of between 60,000 and 90,000 men into Wallachia. Wallachia had perhaps 30,000 soldiers. Vlad could not fight the Ottomans directly, so he burned his own crops, poisoned his own wells, drove his own people into the mountains. He launched a night raid on the Ottoman camp that came close to killing Mehmed personally. And then he prepared his masterpiece. As Mehmed's army advanced toward the Wallachian capital of Targoviste, they came across something in the forest outside the city. a forest of stakes, 20,000 Ottoman prisoners, impaled, arranged in rows, stretching for miles. The stakes had been precisely sized according to rank. Ottoman officials on taller stakes so they could be seen from further away. The scene the Ottoman army encountered has been documented in multiple contemporary sources, including Ottoman ones. Mehmed II, a man who had conquered Constantinople and was feared across 2 continents, reportedly wept. His Grand Vizier wrote that no man could fail to be horrified by such a sight. He turned the army around. Vlad had driven off the largest military force in the region with dead bodies and psychology. Vlad's reign did not end in battle. It ended in politics. Again. His own brother Radu, the younger brother who had been held hostage with him, had converted to Islam during his captivity. Become a favorite of the Ottoman court, Mehmed sent Radu back into Wallachia with an Ottoman-backed army. The Wallachian boyars, tired of Vlad's terror, switched sides. Vlad fled to Hungary seeking support from King Matthias Corvinus. Matthias had been receiving money from the Pope specifically to support Vlad's anti-Ottoman campaigns. He arrested Vlad instead, used forged letters to justify it. Letters suggesting Vlad was negotiating with the Ottomans, almost certainly fabricated. Vlad spent 12 years in Hungarian captivity. He was released around 1475, reclaimed the Wallachian throne briefly in 1476. He was killed in battle or assassinated shortly after. Accounts vary. His head was sent to Constantinople, displayed on a spike on the city walls, by the man who had been traumatized by his forest of stakes 15 years earlier. Even in death, the symmetry of violence followed him. How did a 15th-century Wallachian prince become the most famous fictional monster in the world? The connection runs through Bram Stoker, the Irish author who published Dracula in 1897. Stoker never visited Transylvania. He researched Eastern European folklore in the British Museum Library. His notes survive. They show he encountered the name Vlad Dracula and the historical accounts of impalement. He borrowed the name, the location, the aura of menace. The vampire mythology itself came from separate Slavic and Romanian folklore traditions that had nothing specifically to do with Vlad. Stoker fused them. The historical Vlad impaled people. The fictional Dracula drank blood. Different things. Same shadow. In Romania, the historical reputation is genuinely complicated. Vlad is considered by many Romanians as a national hero, a prince who defended a small Christian state against the most powerful empire in the world, who used brutal methods, but used them in service of his people's survival. A man of his time, using the tools his time provided. The same man that Western Europe turned into a monster. 2 different stories, same person. In 2017, a Turkish historian named Feeds Emiken was working through the Topkapi Palace archive in Istanbul. The archive holds hundreds of thousands of Ottoman imperial documents. Most have never been fully cataloged, let alone translated. Emerson found a document dating to 1462, the year of the Forest of Stakes, written by an Ottoman official who had been present during Mehmed's campaign in Wallachia. A first-hand account of what the Ottoman army actually found outside Targoviste. The document has been authenticated, dated. It is genuine. But what makes it historically explosive is not the description of the stakes. It is a passage near the end. A passage describing a private meeting between Mehmed II and a captured Wallachian official, in which Mehmed asked one specific question about Vlad. A question that suggests Mehmed knew something about Vlad's motivations that has never appeared in any Western historical account. Something that, if the document is accurately translated, completely changes the standard explanation for why Vlad did what he did. Not sadism, not psychopathy, not simple cruelty. Something more calculated, more disturbing, and in a strange way more human than the monster the legend created. The full translation of that document, and what it means, is the next video. Follow now.